my God! I'm so excited to talk to the next guy. I love the bones of him. Here we go. We got a cup of tea, fresh cup of tea. Thank you, Frank. All right, we're going to bookend the week with two absolute superstars. Mel Robbins on the way on Friday. Doesn't get any better than Mel to end the week, and it doesn't get any better than this next guy to start the week. Vassos, over to you.
Our next guest taught us that the drugs don't work, but his music always does. He's making lucky men of us all with a new single, Lover, out now, a new album in September, and a few small gigs in between with Oasis. So come on, people, please welcome the absolute smashcraft, Richard Ashcroft!
Yeah, Richard! How are you, mate?
Thank you, mate. Great. What an intro. Love it.
Oh, my God, it's so nice to see you.
You too, my friend. You too.
Oh, I've got so much to talk to you about. So much. So, when you were on with Eddie 7 years ago here,
Yeah.
there's a brilliant interview of you and Eddie on YouTube. It's got tens of thousands of hits. And he talked to you about a couple of things. One was the fact that you just had a good cry at somebody's funeral.
Yeah.
And you said, it's great to have a cry. We've got loads of crying on hold.
Yeah.
Then you open the sluice gates, and it's good to give yourself a good cry. And you said, quote unquote, I must get better at it.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's I think I can cry a little bit easier than I used to. I find that I get triggered by the TV makers have got me now. So I'll cry at I cry at the disappointment of talent shows and things like that. I can find myself going that way. But I've definitely got better at it. I spent years never crying about anything. I think I got a bit numb to it. But I definitely feel like I open up a little bit more than I did. I think it's good for you. It feels good.
Feels great. And you talk about sad happy or happy sad.
Yeah, I think in the music is always, for me, the music I've enjoyed over the years, and also what I've kind of tried to do is even within one line, have that mix,
Yeah.
Because it's not kind of sort of celebrating the downsides of life, but it's accepting it, but having hope. Because without that, what we getting up for? Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. So I'm driving back to the airport on Friday from our family holiday, and I'm in floods, and nobody can see me because I'm driving. So the kids are in the back. We got a family van. Kids are in the back. One of the youngest is next to me, so she's not interested anyway. But there's tears rolling down my cheeks, and they're happy, sad tears.
Yeah.
Because I'm really happy that we've had a wonderful holiday. There's nothing but love in the van. But I'm really sad that it's over.
Yeah.
And it's those tears that are the richest or the deepest tears. And I know you got a new album coming out in September. I don't know if you've got a title for it yet, but Happy Sad would be a great title.
Oh, mate. I'll have to get on the phone to them, yeah.
Do you have a title for the album?
I've given them one. I don't think it's too late, though. I do like that, yeah.
Well, you said it, Happy Sad.
Yeah.
Because that's empathy, isn't it? That's what it's all. They are the tears that break me in two.
Absolutely.
Because you can be sad about something, and you can be happy. Tears of joy, tears of sadness. But the two can. But that is the killer mix for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. The other day, similar thing. We had down at my wife's sister and our extended family, and she just made a lovely afternoon tea, and when everyone went home from that, I felt that same feeling. There's something beautiful about it, but there's a sadness, especially when you don't know when you're going to see everyone again, and you've come together, and that beautiful thing of family when you're together. I totally get that. That kind of thing gets me now, is saying goodbye and goodbyes and things like that,
Well, it's the happiness and the realization and the finally sort of getting your head around being in the moment and then realizing that it's impermanent.
Exactly.
It's like, no, this is why we didn't go there in the first place, because it's heartbreaking.
Absolutely, yeah, man. Life can be like that all the time,
I got some more titles for you.
Yeah, go on.
These are titles that speak to things that I've learned about you over the years. All right?
Here we go.
Because we've got Happy Sad, which is another title for the album coming up in September. It has a title. We'll get to Lovers in a minute, right? Or Lover, which is the new single, which is off the chain.
Thank you.
I know there's another single coming before summer.
That's right.
Around the big gigs and things like that. Have you told anybody the title of that yet?
No, that's going to be another. It's a surprise, but I will say it is another sample based
right.
song. Yeah.
Okay, so I've got some future titles for tracks, right, based on things I've learned about you, right?
This is great, man. Why didn't you ring me 6 months
I
ago?
know. I wrote them all down. I was like, I'm so excited to tell them. Okay, what about this for a track?
Yeah.
Catalog Kid.
Oh, yes.
So I'll throw them out there, and then you tell people why I'm saying these things.
Well, you're saying the Catalog Kid because I probably referenced in the past that when my mum had the hairdressers, there was a lady there, friend of mine's mum, called Sheila, and I thought her last name was Catalog because everyone kept calling her Sheila Catalog, and Sheila would collect the monies from from their orders for the huge big catalogue.
Yeah.
And what we do is, if we were bored back in the day, folks, when pre-internet, when you're a young person, you get out that catalogue and you'd have first pick on each page and you'd go through the whole lot of it. And I was the catalogue kid. You go through everything.
See, that's an Ashcroft track waiting to happen, isn't it?
Catalogue kid, man.
All right, ready for another one?
Yeah.
Okay. Caught in My Guitar.
What's that one?
Caught in My Guitar.
Caught in My Guitar.
You've said in the past that some songs some melodies keep knocking on your door or keep swimming past your window and begging to be caught in your guitar.
Wow. I love that. Caught in My Guitar.
Yeah.
Mate, this is the rest of my career written down here.
Do you want another one?
Yeah, definitely.
Mature Cheddar.
Oh. Mature Cheddar.
It also does sound like an Ashcroft track, doesn't it?
Mature Cheddar.
Tell us about Mature Cheddar.
It's just my favourite cheese, man. It's without doubt. It's one of those ones. I remember I had a place in France once, and obviously France is kind of cheese, and then we found this one supermarket that sold mature cheddar imported from England.
Yeah.
Oh, happy days, mate. Happy days. You can forget all that stinky stuff.
When you go on tour in certain parts of the world, you've got to take your own cheese with you or be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are the little comforts that get you through it.
So, Caught in My Guitar, you happy with that one?
I think mature cheddar could give the critics a little bit of a license.
And they don't need one.
Exactly, right. Pure cheese.
So I like mature cheddar's good, right? But I'm going to cross it off the list.
Yeah.
I'm going to give Catalog Kid a tick to go through to the next round.
Catalog Kid's real good.
Happy Sad is an album.
I really like that. That sounds like
it's all your work.
I even think Tim Buckley might have had an album called Happy Sad. I'm not sure.
Okay. Caught in My Guitar.
I like that.
Walk in the Woods.
Walk in the Woods, perfect.
You like Walk in the Woods?
I still love Walking in the Woods.
You do, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you say anybody can say anything about my music, don't care really. I'll just go for a walk in the woods. I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, for years, I think people, I don't know what it was back when I first was lucky enough to sell a few albums and I bought an house and had a bit of land, and it was, for the first year, I was waiting for someone to tell me to get out, get off. What you're doing in here? Do you know what I mean? It was such it's such a privileged place to be, sat in a bit of woodland, and no one can tell you to get out.
Best ever, man.
And you can breathe in that nature, and it's so healing. But now, subsequently, everyone has written about how nature can be such a cure for the mind. Whatever, a good walk, anything. People out there know that now. But when I was talking about it, it was like, has he lost his mind? What's he talking about? A walk in the woods.
Were they your Mad
mean?
Richard days?
Well, yeah, I think Mad Richard was a bit earlier than that. I was only thinking about that this morning because I remember someone trademarked that, and I've said this before. It's interesting, isn't it? Now with mental health, as they say, being such on the forefront of people's minds and whatnot, that back then you could literally be called mad. And it was a bit of a joke, you know what I mean?
Because you were known as Mad Richard, weren't you?
Yeah, I felt bad for the rest of the band, to be honest. I mean, this started because I kind of half-jokingly, but really it was a metaphor for dreaming. I told a journalist, I said, if I wanted to, I could fly. And really, I was just using it as an analogy for, I'll do what I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
We are going to be the biggest band in the world. I am going to. But that was just a metaphor. But he took it literally. Yeah. And then from then on, I was Mad Richard, and I felt a bit bad for the rest of the guys in the band at the time that I was being kind of cartooned. But then again, anyone who's done anything, you've got to expect these things. But it's now ironic looking back. It's like no one would call anyone, no one would put Mad before someone's name now. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it's a sensitive issue, but back then it was like a free-for-alls. But, you know, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Walk in the woods.
100% walk.
It's just a walk in the woods to me.
Walk in the woods, beautiful, man. What about this one? Ready? Another title for you?
Yeah, man.
Baywatch Out.
Baywatch Out. Where's this one come from?
from your would-be lifeguard days. So it'd be Baywatch, right? Baywatch, yeah? But Baywatch Out.
Oh, that is awesome.
What do you think?
Love it.
Okay, so just, again, for people who don't know, lifeguard.
Yeah, well, I got, back in the day, I'm not sure if they still do, I'm sure they still do work experience at school out there. But my work experience was I got sent to Wigan Baths. And and for some reason, I thought I was going to be a lifeguard round the side. And I brought my my towel and my trunks in the bag. And I got there and she said, have you got your gold proficiency? And I went, no. I've got that 25 metres badge. Because if you did 25 metres, you used to get a green... You got a little green stitch-on badge for your trunks. You'd see these people with all these different badges. And I just had the 25 metres. And she went, oh, no. She went, go and have a word with Jeff or whatever, and he'll show you. And I remember I was cleaning the toilets in Wigan Baths, and I was just trying to get some air out the window. And I looked out the window, and this lad I knew, Sean, was running past. He was on work experience. I went, Sean, it's Rich, what you doing? And he went, I can't stop. I've got a story. He was working for the Wigan Reporter, and I saw him, this budding journalist, running past, and I'm like, man, I'm in the toilets, man. So yeah, that was a steep learning curve. But you know, respect to anyone, whatever you're doing, however you make your living. But it was not much of a work experience, I must admit. And yeah, all these things you learn from them. You learn
from them, and they give you depth. I was talking earlier on the show about urban hymns. I sold over 10 million copies, I think. I mean, it was definitely over 10 million once. It might be over 20 million now. It's many millions of copies.
Yeah,
it's awesome. As is loads of the songs and the things you've been involved in. Love the bones of you know that. And I still, though, I'm surprised that it hasn't sold 100 million. I listened to it again yesterday. I listened to it on the way in again this morning, just to get in the mood, get in the vibe. Yeah. I love the brand new single, by the way. We'll go into that in a sec. It's just awesome. I love the video. It's brilliant. And I was thinking about urban hymns. You know, first time I've thought about it deeply for a long, long time. It's brilliant. It's awesome. It's all those things. The thing that occurred to me for the first time ever, though, is that it was so wise beyond its years. The songs are brilliant. The arrangements are brilliant. The melodies are fantastic. It's overwhelmingly. It's almost too much. If I'm feeling too vulnerable, I can't listen to it because it breaks me again. You know, happy, sad kind of thing. But it was so wise. You were so young. I get the genius because people are blessed with genius, but I don't get where the wisdom came from. Apart from when you start telling stories like we've just been discussing, because you had this experience, this depth. What do you think about the wisdom of 22, 23-year-old Richard now? Because it was something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're fortunate enough to tap into something like a seam of gold that's musically timeless and lyrically timeless, it's something that you don't grow out of. You think. I often said, you know, sometimes I feel like these songs are messages for me for when I'm older. You know, these songs, I'll learn off them when I'm older. And that was, you know, the same with Lucky Man, lyrics for these things, that they've got more depth now. I always repeat this story. A Portuguese guy told me that when he was young, one person would be chose to sing this folk song in the village faith.
Fargo.
But only when he was 50-something would he cry at that lyric because of that empathy and that life experience. And I think you're right. It's unusual when you're young to lay down these songs and these lyrics that, you know, I'm almost got more empathy for some of those songs now than than I did when I was doing
Well,
them.
that's sort of what I was saying in
Yeah.
a mealy-mouthed way when I asked the
Yeah.
question. It struck me like, oh my God, this is what we should know now. I'm going into my 60s, you're mid-50s, and there's my favourite Shaolin monk is this guy called Xin Yi, right? And Xin Yi says that when you're feeling overwhelmed, it means you're lacking one or two things: space and time. You've got a track called Space and He's a monk, right?
Yeah.
He's like 2,000 years of learning. You wrote about space and time when you were 23.
Yeah.
But that's crazy, man.
No, it's great. I thank lots of things for that, like my granddad, God rest his soul, and the way he lived next door to me, and he'd take me out when I was young for walks, and he'd show me the stars, and back then there wasn't that many satellites, and we'd wait for a satellite to pass, and we'd walk to this old tree that had been hit by, and he really enriched me with. I didn't really realise at the time, but only looking back, that was the start of the journey, was these walks with my granddad. And,
love it.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
It's like you're in my head, man. And my heart. Last Thursday, Tash and I stayed outside in the garden of the house we were renting in the Algarve, and we started. We've never done this before. We counted the stars as they came out until there were too many to count. Beautiful. And the first one came out, and the next one, it took 15 minutes for the next star to come out. But then we kept getting confused by all the satellites because there are so many now.
Yeah.
And they're so quick.
And some of them, for years now, I'm like, satellites, yeah. I'm a bit confused. I must admit, out in Gloucestershire, there's like a dark, inky sky. I'm very lucky. And I got some crazy binoculars. And some nights when I used to do it, Kate would be like, what are you doing again? I'd be like 3 a.m. I'd have the window open with these giant binoculars, and I'm looking, and it's like Star Wars out there.
It's amazing.
It's like, so, yeah, like I say, taking that right back. And then obviously life experience, obviously my dad dying and all that kind of stuff, and just things that went on. Probably just accelerated my sense of my urgency, to get to do things, and a deeper. In a way, it's like I always say, it's like some people's bubble doesn't burst, and that's great for a long time. My bubble burst early, and that fractured sort of feeling that it leaves, and putting those pieces back together, can take a long time. But what it does do, it infuses you with a sort of hunger and a bit of urgency to say, right, I've just witnessed how quick this thing can end. I better get on.
Yeah.
So that, if you infuse that with a sort of almost over the top sort of idea of what you could achieve, really, even talking about Oasis, what blows my mind is we did gigs together when there was 200 and some people there. They played the whole of Definitely Maybe, and I just saw 3 people with Adidas tracksuit tops on stood up. Everyone else was sat down.
Yeah.
You can't believe it now. And they were like, no, this is great. These kids. Yeah. This sounds great. Yeah. We like this.
They knew.
Yeah, and everyone was like, because they were supporting the Verve, and they were some of our fans, and they're doing that thing of, right, impress me. Who are you lot? Who are you lot?
Well, the tables might be turned this summer. Right, you have beautifully got us onto the now, the here and the now. Okay, so we're going to play the brand new single, Lover. We're going to talk about it after we've heard it. Then we're going to talk about the summer, what's happening, more Ashcroft brand new material, culminating in an album on the other side of all those gigs featuring you know who. Coming up after Lover. Brand new from Richard Ashcroft. By the way, if you've got 5 minutes studying your tea break, check out the video. All right, Rich, tell us about Lover. Richard Ashcroft with us, by the way.
Yeah, it's a track I've had for a few years, actually. Joan actually sampled Joan Armour Trading, and she was talking to my manager, actually, at the Albert Hall. I just missed her, and she's like, where's that tune? Because we sent her what I'm potentially going to do, and she really liked it. And so it's been around for a couple of years, working on it. And yeah, I just always loved that little section of Joan Armour Trading's Love and Affection. And I've always enjoyed using a sample as the spark, but I don't want to just loop something and then mutter over it. I want to create something brand new out of it. It's something that feels almost like it's been beamed out of the future, It's a bit like what Bittersweet was like, there's no precedent for it. You know, so you can play all whatever else is going on right now, but nothing is going to sound like Lover, yet it's got melody strong enough to draw you in, you know? So, yeah, I'm just really pleased that, and I'm pleased Joan really likes the last, you know, the finished thing, because it's one of her most famous pieces, and the fact that she actually really likes it, she posted it up on her Instagram, which is really, you know, that makes me feel good, you know? And, yeah, it's just good to be back, and I'm just pleased that I've still got the hunger or the appetite to musically, because when the album comes out, there's going to be a range of things. It's going to go all over the place, quite eclectic, but it takes effort to get my head right to make something like this. I want it to sound effortless, but when you're sampling someone you respect stuff and you want to try and create something new, it takes that effort and that hunger, and I'm just buzzing that I've still got that.
Yeah,
you know.
No, you say, don't you, that it should be effortful, but it shouldn't be hard, and that's different. Because if it's too hard, it's not right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's got to flow. A lot of my things just flow. A lot of the things I add to these songs, whether it be keyboards or whatever, they're just instinctive. You know, it's more trying to like. I think there's kind of like a. It's almost like historically you get to a certain age in music and you're kind of supposed to go out onto the pasture like the old horse, you know?
Yeah.
And just chew on your old works and live off that.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with that, you know, certainly like say a Johnny Cash kind of disproved that, you know.
You love Johnny Cash, don't you?
Yeah, you know, and the fact that some of his last works were as powerful as his first, you know. He did some amazing things.
Was that when Rick Rubin got together with him?
And that's there's a tune he played, Man Comes Around, and his version of Hurt.
Yeah.
And, you know, and years before that, people would be like, nah, the guy's 70-something. Let him just play Ring of Fire.
Yeah.
And let's just, you know, let's let him relax now. And I think that needs to be disproved a bit, that some of your most creative ideas can come in the latter part of your career, do you know what I mean?
Well, they do say these are the future good old days.
Yeah,
you know, so let's just go with that, shall we?
Yeah.
All right, we're out of time. It's great. Can we put Lover on again? Do you mind? Can we hear it from Richard Ashcroft, please? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Richard! Thanks a lot, Chris.
The Catalogue Kid is about to leave the building.
Oh, yes.
Cheers, man.
Thank you, Chris.